Hey all, Matt Hepworth here, and I want to talk to you about this guy. Kind of hard to see, but that is an IK omnidirectional measurement microphone. But really, one thing that's kind of nice about it, besides the fact that it's omnidirectional, is that it has a little bit of a high frequency roll-off that starts about 8K. And so this is my ultimate tool for creating a big room sound using Ocean Way Studios, where I don't have a big room, but I can use that as a room mic. And I usually set it up about 6 feet, sometimes as little as 4, but about 6 feet in front of the kit, and kind of dead even with the top of the bass drum. So it gives a good kind of forward view on that bass drum and the kit as a whole. Oh, by the way, I use these clips with them usually because the little teeny clip that comes with that, it's lost in the day. And I usually pick these up for anywhere from 40 to 60 bucks. I've picked up a couple just recently. So you take and you look at a mic like this and you think, that it's more like those Earthworks mics where it's directional, it's meant to go this way, but actually these are made to be upright. And so when you position it, you take the top of the kick drum, put that roughly even with the kick drum, and then come out 6 feet. And that usually gives a good balance of cymbals versus drums, and gives me a lot to work with OWS. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are at console. We've got our kick, snare top, snare bottom, hat, room, which is the ARC, and overs. Now, ARC works really well for me. It would probably work really well for you, but it's not the only thing that can work. You could try a 57 or another condenser and just see how that works. You'd probably have to aim it away from the drum kit and a little bit toward the ground maybe to get something similar. So let's get some drums going. There's that room mic by itself. It's not bad, but we want something big and wide. So we're going to set this to pre, unmute it, and let's put Ocean Way. Okay, and we're going to use remic mode. That's very important. And let's get some level up here. And I'm going to push it pretty hard. And let's see what it does. Pretty big difference already. Let's put some overheads in there. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, pretty good. But let's do something a little more traditional. So let's set Studio B, and I'm going to add an 1176 for dynamics here. Shift for all buttons. Fastest attack and release. Let's get those overheads out of there. Oh yeah. So that last solo, you could hear that pre-fader send, so we were hearing the combination of room worked really well. And now let's get over to Pro Tools, and we're going to need to add a new track for that aux. We need stereo, and we'll set that aux input. I'm going to hold Shift and enable all, and record enable. And let's record. Name this guy OWS room. Okay, and here we go. And there we go. And had kind of a long start, so I'd clean something like that up, but this was just for testing anyway. So let's listen back. I'm going to Option Shift, turn off all those. So here's our room by itself. There's our big old dirty room. And we've still got our original if we want to go back and make changes. So huge difference. And honestly, that can pass as real rooms with some dirty distortion from the compressor. Sounds great. Okay, so now this is the session where these drums were actually used, and I ended up not printing the ARC through the aux because I actually tracked this on a Pro Tools HD system instead of through Apollo. So I've got my room, which is exactly the room we were hearing before. But with some Ocean Way on there. And to see the settings I used, simply this. Again, remic mode, super important. And now let's kind of hear this all in context. This is The Immigrant Song by a really cool band, Mothers of Mayhem. And we tracked these drums in a small room. As you can see here, this is the room. This is the drum kit. And that room is like 10 by 15 maybe. It's usually just used for vocals and things where you need a tight sound. And so getting that big room in a small room was something that was perfect for Ocean Way and the ARC mic that I really like for it. So here's the ARC room mic, and you can see about 6 feet away from the front of the kick, and the height is exactly even with the top of the hoop of the kick. So, you know, a little over knee high, 23, 24 inches up. And now I'm going to play this track as a whole, and I'm going to solo up the drums here so you guys can hear that, and I'll pull the room in and out and solo it. And then we'll take it in and out with the whole track too, so you can hear how much difference it makes. So here's just the drums. No room. Just the room. And now I'm going to bring everything back. Alright, let's check that from the beginning, and I'm going to bring that room mic in and out.
We come from the land of the ice and snow, with the midnight sun and the hot springs.
So, yeah, it pulls the snare back a little bit, but it gives the whole thing a feel from, instead of being dry, the whole thing feels like it has some environment to it. Let's hear that again. And here, right here on the verse change, I'm going to pull it out so it's dry. And now in. So, pretty huge difference. And in the context of the mix, it kind of makes the whole mix feel different. The whole mix feels less dry and has some movement to it that isn't there without. And I mean, you can even automate that a little bit to back up maybe a little bit on the verses and push up on the choruses to give you something, you know, big and nice. Anyway, that's what I use. It works really well for me, and I hope it works for you. All right, so hopefully you guys can take that and utilize it and be able to do some cool things from small rooms, since a lot of us, like me, are kind of, you know, quarantine stricken or at least on low duty. That's why I'm in my home studio that's kind of a work in progress, like my beard, instead of a regular studio where I usually work. So anyway, Matt Hepworth, thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you next time.